Hello and thank you for joining me. I'm Heather Forgan of stampwithnellie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. Today I want to share with you this card that uses the Simply Elegant Designer Series paper, and it has been concertina folded so that it gives this drapery or curtain fold effect. So it's basically just pleated going up an angle there. The design that I've used here features lots of foiling. We've got silver, gold and copper there. So I've brought in the gold trim from the same suite, the Simply Elegant trim, and I've done some heat embossing here with the Elegantly Said stamp set using gold embossing powder, and I've added some champagne rhinestones on there to kind of pick up on the kind of coppery look on there as well. So it's actually a nice simple card to make. There's loads of these on Pinterest and YouTube already, but the ones that I found were in inches. So I like to make my cards in centimetres, so this card that I will be showing you how to make is in centimetres. So I'm changing it up. I've got a card base I've already prepped. So this is half an A4 sheet, just trimmed down a little bit so that it is 10.5 centimetres by 14.5 centimetres by 21 centimetres, and scored and folded at 10.5. So when it's folded like that, it's 14.5 by 10.5. So once we've done our pleating on the Designer Series paper, I want that to be 10 centimetres by 14 centimetres. So we've got a nice little gap around there. So I'll show you how to do that. The Designer Series paper comes in a pack that has lots of different designs in it. One side is foiled and the other side isn't. This is the design I'm going to use for the next card, and I've cut this down to 10 centimetres, but I've just left the 12 inches there because I'll trim that once I've finished doing the folding. Just found it was a little bit more accurate to do it that way. So my first score line, get that cutting blade well out of the way. First score line is at 6.5 centimetres. Just double check that I've got that in there. 6.5 centimetres. Then the next one is 8.5 centimetres. And then 12.5. And 14.5. And bring this piece out. 18.5. 20.5. 24.5. And the last one is 26.5. Okay. So I will need to use this again, but first of all I will just burnish all of those score lines. So you want to do it in a kind of concertina style so that we've got that bit folding over like so, and then the next score line, and then fold it back on itself. Bring the next one up. Fold it back. And then you can see that those pleats are being formed there. Just do those two at the same time. Okay, so This will be just slightly longer than I want it to be, so I'm just putting it back in and lining that up at the 14, just taking off that little bit there. Okay, now the next bit is I want to put a diagonal line in. So I want to cut it from that first score line, so this bit here. I want to make sure I've got that in line with my cutting track here. And then you could measure down how far you wanted it to go. I'm just going to eyeball it and go with that. Okay. So I'm taking that bit off and that is excess. And we've got this piece left here. Fold that back up and that's how you get to see that lovely little bit of the other side of the paper. To keep that in place and make it easier to put onto your card base, I'm using tear and tape. You could use a tape runner like Seal or Seal Plus. Just make sure that you run it that way so that you're not getting fouled up with those pleats there. And then you maybe want to do another one there. And it just makes it a little bit more rigid for when you're putting it onto your card base. Like so. Alright. Now, here comes the tricky bit for me. And adding this trim on with a bow. Let me just cut that, giving myself plenty to play with because I know what I'm like. Now, my trick for this was to use my tear and tape again, just to hold that in place on the back. So if I put that like so, and do the same on this side. As I say, it's a fairly easy card, but when you're using paper as pretty as this, you don't really want to put too much more on it to distract from the paper. And this type of card is all about the paper and the folding of it, so keep it as simple as we can. Okay, so you might like to spend a bit more time making sure that you've got that exactly how you want it. I am going to say I'm happy with that and just cut my tails off for just now. To hold that in place, I'm actually going to bring in my mini glue dots and just kind of roll that up a little and stick that on the back of the knot there. And that will save that unravelling and moving around. So that's now ready to go onto the card base, but I want to stamp my sentiment in there, and I've got that mounted. This is from the Elegantly Said stamp set. So again, I'm using the birthday one, but there's birthday, anniversary, all the things you do are simply amazing. Thank you for you. Life has changed for you, but my love and support never will. And true love stories last forever, which I think is a lovely one for a wedding card. So I'm just placing that to give myself a marker. I know I want it to be just down in that corner there. Quick swipe with the old embossing buddy to take off any static. Out with the Versamark. Make sure I've got that covered, but more importantly, make sure I've got the stamp up the right way. And then just popping that in that corner there, like so. And I've got a piece of scrap here, and I'm using the black embossing powder, which I love that that's back in the catalogue. All of the products that I am using for this card will be listed in my blog post along with all of the measurements, and you can get a link to that blog post in the description bar below. So bear with me a moment whilst I heat this up. Love the shine that you get with embossing. Now you may have noticed that I was heating it from the top and then heating it from the bottom. It was because I was trying to avoid that getting too, it does curl with the heat. Now make sure that this is completely cooled down before you try and straighten it, especially if you're going to try and straighten it by putting something heavy on it, because if it's not quite dry it will stick and then smudge. So I will, once I've finished making the card, I will pop it under that block just to give it a little helping hand to flatten back down again. So just take off the backing from your tear and tape. I had a little bit overhanging there, and it's nice and easy just to press that back. And then I'm just going to finish it off by using my wet glue. Well, I would if it was working. There we go. Just around the edge, like so. Okay, so this is just a case of lining it up as best you can. Easier for you when you don't have a camera right above. That's not too bad, not too bad. Pressing that down. Happy with that. So as I said, nice and simple. Does obviously need a little bit more bling though, because I had some more on that one. I don't have any black gems, so I'm going to go with just plain rhinestones on this. Put a big one up there with a smaller one and another small one down there. Lovely. 2 really pretty cards using the curtain or drapery fold. I hope you've enjoyed today's tutorial. If you have, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, then please do click on that subscribe button, and if you click on the bell, then you'll get notified of the next time that I upload a video. Until then, take care. Bye bye.